I mean, I've been suffering with the sound money thing for a long damn time. I think you and I have had this conversation before where, being a gold bug was no fun for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And then all you guys came along and it's like, holy shit, the reinforcements are here. I'm fired up.
This movement is alive and well.
It's alive and well. I mean, when I had 30-year-olds quoting von Mises to me and they'd read the Bitcoin Standard, I was like, all right, this is good. I mean, we might actually end up winning here, right? I got Marty telling me we're going to win, and I'm like,
oh, we're going to win.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna win.
I mean, it's obvious.
Yeah.
We are going to win, right?
Yeah.
So it's good. It's good stuff.
What do you think about the strategic Bitcoin reserve and the implications of it?
It's huge. I mean, it's nation state because it could lead to nation state FOMO. I mean, as an example, I was at MENA. I saw Eric speak. I saw Manafort speak, and I heard from the Bitcoin Policy Institute guys that basically other states are watching what we're doing. That the Saudis, Oman, and the UAE are all stacking, and they were literally saying, "Are you guys okay with us announcing this?" And the response from the Trump administration is, "Sure, after we do." We just want to go first. And so if the U.S. is stacking coins, that becomes a strategic imperative for all of the countries to consider. I mean, you now know that China has to think about it.
For sure.
Russia has to think about it. China's pretty averse to it. I think Russia's smart enough. I mean, I think Putin gets it. I think they're probably stacking coins. It is the most, it's what Saylor says, it's the most pristine form of capital in the world. And it's destined to become the base layer of money, in my opinion, because of its technical superiority. And as a result of that, it's a complete first mover game. I mean, you get it at the price you deserve. And so the sooner you figure it out and get it, the better off you are. And Max is better off than I am because he figured it out at $1. Trace is better off than he is because Trace figured it out at 50 cents. Like, take a guy like Larry Fink, right? I mean, a fiat guy, but smart enough to study it and realize, you know what? I either got to get on board this and figure out a way to make money doing it, sponsoring an ETF, or I'm going to end up like the Vanguard guy and lose my job.
Yep.
And so, and that's kind of how it is for everybody. A lot of people I deal with now kind of come back and they say, well, yeah, that's great, Larry, but you bought it a lot cheaper. And how can I pay this amount of money, 100,000 a coin, for something you bought for 400 or 10,000? I bought a lot at 50, but my response is, here's the paradigm. It's a critical state problem. The monetary system is the Titanic, and I got a lifeboat. I'm on the I paid 400, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 for my lifeboat seats. Here it is to you. You got to pay 100,000. Do you want a seat or not? And if I'm right, and if the system does fail, which I think it might, you're going to be damn glad you bought a seat, even if you have to pay 100,000 for it.
Of course. I mean, it's I remember Jack Mahler's the way that he said it. It's like basically saying the year is 2025 and you refuse to use the internet.
Right.
It's
right. Or Manhattan real estate. As Saylor uses. And
the whole concept of, I'm not going to buy because this person bought earlier than me. That's an ego test more than anything.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Well, and also, as I say, the critical state thing is important because once, there's some good charts in here that show adoption curves, and cell phones, all kinds of things. So this is a new technology. It's being adopted. We're entering the steep part of the curve. And so do you want to be an early adopter or do you want to wait? Because the difference is going to cost you a lot in terms of price. It's a critical state issue because another analogy I like to use is the Avalanche analogy. At some point, fiat currency is going to fail, in my belief, in my opinion. So which snowflake is going to cause the avalanche to break loose and have it fail? I don't know. But there's no do-over. You know what I mean? You don't get to say, oh, I'm sorry. I kind of wish I wish I'd gotten out of the way before that avalanche, broke loose and came down and smothered me.
What does that look like, Larry? Like when fiat fails? Because I feel like that is ugly.
It is ugly. It is ugly.
I'm assuming you've heard of the book Mandibles.
It's in the book.
Right? There we go.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Well, I hope so. It looks a lot of different ways, Nico, and it doesn't.
And what makes you so confident it's going to happen?
Well, I'm confident it's going to happen because of the math and because this is a superior technology and because more and more humans are adopting it, and people always gravitate towards the best solution. And we've now got 15 years of evidence that it's the best, 16 years of evidence that it's the best solution. But in terms of the how it happens, it doesn't have to be Mandibles. I don't think it will be. It'll take a bit longer. It can be more gradual, which is in a funny way, we want it to go up faster, but in a funny way, it's a good thing. If we get more people on board, give more people time to adapt. The second thing is, as I talk about in the book, this doesn't have to be a brutal, total collapse. We can do a currency reset, okay? Mm-hmm. This has been done before. Roosevelt did it in 1933. I mean, we can basically transition back to a sound money currency. The problem with America today is that the money is unsound and the money is broken, title of Ledn's book. And therefore, The solution is to just go back to a sound money system. And there have been lots and lots of societies throughout the world that have had broken money. And what happens, what you see when you study them and read about them, is when they go back to sound money, they get better. Everything gets fixed, especially if you don't have a major war. You know, if we can avoid having a major war, I mean, all that's broken here is the money. And so, you know, now don't get me wrong. When what I'm describing occurs, there will be winners and losers. The people who don't have sound money will lose on a relative basis. The people who have a lot of unsound money stored in bonds, they're going to get creamed. They're just going to, but that's unavoidable. I mean, that's just the way that, because, you know, the bonds and the commitments that have been made, they're not money good. They're not, it's, you know, the values are fake. I mean, just like in real estate right now, I think some of these very high-end real estate prices, they're just fake.
Yeah.
I mean, people are hiding in real estate thinking that'll protect them from inflation. But, you know, do you really need a $20 million house or a $10 million house or a $5 million house?
It's ridiculous.
It's shelter.
It's ridiculous,
It's just shelter.
and it's really stolen my generation's ability to
Well,
buy
that's
home.
right.
It's been
That's
just
exactly right.
complete, flat-out theft.
Yes.
And the frustration. I have friends who are extremely successful, and they're renting.
Right. My kids are all in their 20s, and they're like, Dad, how am I ever going to buy a house?
Yeah.
You know, right?
And it's absurd. And then that leads me to the premise of your book, which is money printing breaks everything.
Yes.
How does it?
Well, it creates inflation, and inflation creates winners and losers, and it makes wealth inequality really large. One of the early charts in the book shows how just out of balance the wealth inequality has gotten. And again, when I wrote the book, I thought to myself, I got to write this because I remember America in the 60s, 70s, and 80s when I was growing up. And we had problems. I mean, the Vietnam War was a big one, but it was a better America. There was a vibrant middle class. I mean, one guy could work, his wife could be a housewife. He could have a car, they could take vacations. I mean, it was just better. And now, you know, everybody is just scrambling for every last dollar, and people can't retire because they don't know if their savings are how long their savings will last, because they're going to be debased, you know? I mean, think of all the people who worked their entire life up until 2020, saved up all their money, and then in 2 years, 40% of the money supply got printed. We just took away 40% of their labor that they'd saved for their whole life. You know, it's criminal. I mean, you think of all the people who worked for companies who had pensions, you know, and the pensions got taken over by PE firms. And then the PE firms, you know, paid out big dividends, or the companies got taken over by PE firms. I talk about this in the book. PE firms paid out big dividends, and the people's pensions got cut. I mean, America has become an enormous criminal money grab by the people who are at the top, the rich, and the laws are written to favor them and protect them. And so when anything goes wrong, they get bailed out. Silicon Valley Bank, I mean, Bill Ackman cries like a baby, you know, that the banking system will fail because he probably had deposits at Silicon Valley Bank. And so we bail it out, which is in direct contravention of the Dodd-Frank law. And that happens over and over and over again. And I document the cases in the book. I mean, it's just unfair. I mean, we used to have usury laws. When I was young, my parents would get credit cards. The maximum interest rate on a credit card was 10 or 20%. The average interest rate on a credit card is 25%. I mean, the mob would blush. So if you're rich, you can borrow money at the Fed funds rate, or sometimes below, but close to the Fed funds rate. If you're average, if you're a normal American, you got to pay 25% to borrow money from the credit cards. I mean, come on.
No,
It's just, you know, come on. I mean, it's just, right?
No, I mean, no, I mean, of course. I mean, I feel my generation feels it. We
Right?
feel it.
We all feel it.
But my question though is, like, why don't people see the problem? Because you see a lot of politicians, and I don't want to name which side, and I think it's obvious, but a lot of politicians are saying it's the corporations.
Greedy corporations.
They're price gouging.
Yeah.
You know, they're taking advantage of the situation, this and this and that. Why isn't the average Joe aware of this? And I know writing this book and what we do every single day on Bitcoin X.
I think they kind of are. I mean, I think they're getting closer, and they're more average Joes that are becoming like us. So, you know, the Overton window is moving, and it's shifting, and there are more average Joes in our camp. But, you know, it's sophisticated, right? I mean, and a lot of people, they think, well, gee, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe it's my fault. You know, this is why you have all these deaths of despair, why you have drug overdoses and alcoholism and suicides. I mean, because the game is unfair. People know it's unfair, and they give up. You're poor and you're working 3 jobs just to kind of keep your head above water and, you know, keep food on the table, and, you know, right? Do you have time to read books like this? Or to go, you know, and even if you read it, you know it's the problem. Do you really have time to write your congressman or go lobby the Fed? No. I mean, you're just trying to stay alive, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, you vote, and, we get more politicians that understand this is the issue. We get a Bitcoiner politician running for president. I mean, we kind of had one. I mean, Trump got pretty close to being full Bitcoiner, a libertarian, but we get it so that there's a lot more of that fighting against the people who want to see it the other way. And guess what? We're going to gravitate and move towards a sound money standard, and hopefully do it in a controlled and intelligent way so that people don't suffer, so that we don't have a mandibles kind of outcome.
Yeah, and I love how you brought up the Overton window. The Overton window has shifted in
Big
the
time.
last 6 months more than it has in the last decade.
Right. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's,
I mean, pre-January and the ETFs, I had everybody and their brother telling me, "Oh yeah, that's a great dream, Larry, and I understand it. And you may be right about all this, but the government's never going to allow that." Well, then they allowed the ETF. I was blown away. I didn't think the ETF was going to get through.
Yeah.
Right.
But Larry Fink has a lot of influence.
Well, that's the point, right?
Yeah.
See, some people with money got involved, and I mean, this is what's going on in the gold market right now. I mean, I think the smart people are buying gold now. They know, look, anybody with a brain that analyzes the macroeconomics of the federal government and realizes what a debt doom loop we're in must come to the conclusion that you have to have sound money or real assets or you're going to get hurt. I mean, Ray Dalio, one of the great investors of our time, runs Bridgewater. He understands it. He's been talking about gold for years, and he's finally becoming a Bitcoiner. He's kind of coming to get it. And everybody will come to get it eventually because it's obvious.
Need liquidity without having to sell your Bitcoin? For more than 6 years now, Ledn has been the trusted choice for Bitcoin-backed lending with transparency, security, and trust at their core. I absolutely love these guys, and I personally have not only an account with them, but also a loan. And some of the key features that I love about Ledn is the fact that there are no monthly payments. You pay at the end of the term. You also have the ability to roll over the loan as well, and you can pay it back whenever you want. Essentially what they do is that they help their clients unlock the liquidity of their BTC, allowing you to HODL while still accessing the wealth of your Bitcoin. They've been battle tested with their focus on transparency, security, and trust, allowing them to build a proven track record of client success and security, helping tens of thousands of clients harness the value of their digital assets with confidence and peace of mind. Learn more about what your BTC can do for you. Check out Ledn.io today.